Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm here again this morning to share another story in the early life and ministry of Jesus from the Gospel of Matthew. This morning, I'd like to share from chapter 9 and verses 1 and 2. So here's what we read. Jesus climbed into a boat and went back across the lake to his own town. Some people brought to him a paralyzed man on a mat. And seeing their faith, Jesus said to the paralyzed man, "Be encouraged, my child. Your sins are forgiven." Now, here we go. Just like last time, Jesus is in a boat. I, I get the crazy feeling that being in a boat with Jesus is always going to be an adventure. I don't know how the disciples looked at it, but kind of seems to me that if you want to get in a boat with Jesus, you can expect something to happen. But nevertheless, it says this time he gets in the boat and he goes back home. Home is the other side of the lake. So he's got to go across that body of water again. But when he gets there, he sees some people bringing a paralyzed man up to him who's laying on a mat. Now, my guess is, if we don't read the rest of the story, my guess is the people bringing the paralyzed man to Jesus wanted him to get healed. I think that's a fairly simple conclusion. That's what they wanted. But that's not what he gave them. That's not what they got, at least initially. Jesus says to the man, looking at the faith of the people who brought him, "Be encouraged, my child. Your sins are forgiven." Well, if you're the guy laying on the mat, what do you think you're thinking? I don't know. Maybe you're thinking, what? Maybe you're thinking, uh, that's not what I came here for. And maybe you're thinking, oh, thank you. Because getting physically healed, which certainly from our perspective is of primary importance, isn't necessarily the main thing to Jesus. The main thing to God is not that we are healthy, though he clearly says many, many times he's concerned about that. The main thing is our relationship with him that has been cut off by sin. So Jesus is talking, and he says, seeing their faith. Now, what does he mean by that? What faith did he see, but not necessarily the faith that they thought they were showing? See, there could be a difference here. Now, the story goes on, and some of the scribes and teachers of the faith and all that, they got mad at Jesus for telling them he could forgive sins. And so Jesus responds a little bit later, well, what do you think's easier? Say, your sins are forgiven, or get up and walk. And just to show you, he tells the man to get up and walk, and he does. So in the end, the physical healing happens. But there's something before the physical healing. Jesus is concerned about the man's relationship to God. And he's always concerned about that. And he is primarily concerned about that because the Lord knows that our lives here are only temporary. I know I'm just like you are. This is all I got. This is where I have lived my life. This is where I've thought my thoughts. This is where I have my relationships. This is where I get the food that I eat. This is where I read the books that I want to read. This is it. This is everything I have experienced in life is here. And when I'm sick or physically harmed, that makes my life miserable. But that's not all there is to life. You see, God's trying to say to this man and the ones around him, I'm proud of you folks. You came here. Everybody else didn't. They demonstrated their magnificent faith by making the time, taking the trouble to come to Jesus. And for the however many that were carrying the mat, I would assume there's four, one at each corner. But it could be like carrying water, and there's only two, one at the front, one at the back. I don't know, but whoever these people are, Jesus is acknowledging that they are heading in the right direction. And he wants to pat them on the back and tell them that. And he encourages, it says, be encouraged. I like that word. What does it mean? To be supported, to be strengthened, to be thought highly of, to let you know that you count. Be encouraged. Jesus says, your sins are forgiven. Now, after this, as I said, the rest of the story is about arguing with the scribes and the Pharisees, the ones Jesus calls hypocrites. And ultimately he says, okay, you decide which is easier. Say your sins are forgiven or say get up and walk. Just in case you can't figure it out, hey, get up and walk. He does, takes his mat, off he goes. Jesus is in charge here. And whenever we find ourselves in a situation that looks pretty tough, remember, Jesus is in charge here. You're not alone if you come to him. Now, whether your situation is a physical thing or emotional thing or an intellectual problem or a financial problem or a relational problem or whatever it is, Jesus is concerned about you. And the first thing he's concerned about is how is your heart in terms of a relationship with him. If this is in good shape, then the rest will take care of itself. And when this life is over, then we see the glory of it all. So you think about this. Think about your own life. Where do you stand? What do you need Jesus to heal in your life? Well, so much for this today's work. I appreciate you listening. I hope you have a really, really great day. If you have a need or a prayer concern, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks again for listening. I hope you have a really great day. Take care. I'll talk to you again.